Just a few fellas on a podcast, ripping in the pitching jokes and sharing some laughs. Rob Ryan, Bedra, Jerry Bernstein. Ooh, they want to know if it's something, if it's anything. Often featuring Leedy Corbin.
For some reason, and I don't know if there's a stand-up bit here or anything, but I am fascinated by that impulse, at least that I have. I don't know if everybody has it, where if you have an opinion about something, you desperately want to tell people. And that's probably why Twitter is so popular, is it's just I can finally tell people my opinions machine. Do you know what I mean?
I think that is true with most people, and I consider myself an outlier in that I do not share that with most people.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting opinion, Brett.
Rob, your mic is way too hot, buddy.
Too hot. And a perfect time because it was mean at me.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
If you're going to be too hot for anything, it should be yelling at Brett. You know, really sold it.
I am. You know what? I'm more like, it takes me so long to form an opinion because I'm so unsure about everything, and I am kind of playing devil's advocate for so long before I feel really strongly about something that it's rare that I'm like, I have to share my opinion. And then usually by the time I form my opinion, it's not a hot topic anymore. So if it comes up in conversation, then I'm like, oh, I'm very happy to share my opinion. But it's usually well after the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're still working on Avatar? On the movie Avatar? You're just like, I'm so close. Almost in time for the sequel.
I did a tweet
post right now, but why are they blue?
I did a tweet the other time that says, I'm a little bit out of the news cycle usually. Did you guys know that Orson Welles broadcast was actually just an audio drama?
I don't know if this is a bad thing to admit. I'll cut this out of the episode if it is, but when I was a single man, there was a girl that I hooked up with who I thought had a particularly good vagina, and it bothers me that I never got to tell her that.
That's a great thing to say.
Leave it in and send her a link to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You know?
We are streaming live, so maybe she's already watching.
Oh, well, Deborah. Her name isn't Deborah. Don't worry, everybody.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like in your mind, like what made you think about this person's vagina in that moment?
Oh, I was just talking about Alison Leiby's One Woman Show. And I also saw
labia, vagina. Got it. Okay, I see the connection now.
No, that's not where it came from.
You said it right after we couldn't hear Leedy when she was talking, so you're probably like, oh, finally, a woman who doesn't speak. They're only good for vaginas. Oh, that one woman had a good vagina. That's what it was.
I'm really enjoying
what did I say?
I'm really enjoying your guys' National Treasure style, A to C'ing. I made me realize that, so I watched her show. I watched Joe List New Hour. What's up?
Just to be clear, abortion, vagina, this girl had a good vagina. That's your National Treasure connection? Because that's not weirder than what Brett and I came up with.
It is.
I didn't even get to you guys haven't even let me show you the path that I took. You keep on suggesting ridiculous paths and then assuming paths that I took. This is what it's like being a liberal, man. Everyone's always putting words in our mouth. Fucking sucks. All right. So I saw Joe List's show and I watched, I know I watched like another hour recently that I messaged everybody about in the chat. And I was like, hey, I just watched this hour. I thought it was really good. And it's like, man, I'm seeing a lot of things. And every time I see a thing, I always want to run to my friends and go, hey, here's what I thought about this thing. And it reminded me of this idea that I had where I'm just like, why do I have that impulse? And I actually lost a bet with myself because I was sure that, Brett, you were going to say that this is evolution because we have this instinct for eating something, and if it doesn't make you die, wanting to tell everybody, and that being good for humanity.
That's funny.
Was that at all in your brain, Brett? Were you like, no. I'm not going to say evolution?
No, I was thinking about a joke that I was going to make, which was, I had an ex, and she used to get mad at me when we were having arguments, and when she didn't have a counter argument, she would hit me, and I just always wanted to tell her that you shouldn't hit people, but I never did. So maybe I'll edit this out of the episode.
That woman's name, Amber Heard.
Exactly.
Never stopped hitting people. Which, by the way, I'm sorry I'm coming in hot today, guys. So when the trial first started, Kirsten and I both started noticing, like, this is popping up on our social media feeds, like, a lot. and not in a way that's like organic. Like I don't follow celebrity gossip or anything like that, but I'm going through TikTok and all of a sudden there's a live of the trial and I'm like, that's weird. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Reddit and I'm like, that's weird. It's just really popping up in a way that just like feels unorganic. And at the same time, all the narrative is about how terrible Amber Heard is. And I want to be clear, like, I do not think that Amber Heard is a great person. She seems like she did not handle herself in this relationship well. But Kirsten and I were talking about it, and we're like, it feels like everybody's forgetting that Johnny Depp is also an abuser.
I'm curious, what other relationships was Johnny Depp in that were abusive?
There were two others that I should have researched this more before I came in here. His relationship with Amber Heard.
I saw Blow. I just saw recently watched Blow not too long ago.
Yeah, he's pretty bad in that.
That's true.
None of that stuff was in the script. I think this works.
bloopers.
I think this works.
That's funny. Yeah, you know what? What's interesting, Jarret, is that if that is true, you're right. That's not something that I have heard in the most recent past about. So I've only heard two of his ex-girlfriends, kind of defending, for his ex-wife of whatever, 13 years. The French lady that he has a couple of kids with, she came out in defense of Johnny, and then also someone else, some other actress star, I forget, Winona Ryder maybe it was?
Winona Ryder did, yeah.
Yeah, Winona Ryder as well. So yeah, I guess I am only at the moment hearing some of the positive blowback for sure. I don't know. I would like to get to a place of even-handedness and civility. That does make some sense.
I mean, to me, based on the history, it seems like they're both equally terrible people. I'm probably getting too heated about this for how little I know about it. And, this is just like discussion that I had with Kirsten about, like people forget about this about Johnny Depp and here's probably what happened,
Jarret, I want to say, I see where you're coming from. I totally get that, like mistrusting how everyone seems to be on the same side very quickly. Yeah. I get that. But also like, I hate it when people use that, like, Johnny also abused too. He was also an alcoholic and a drug addict. I hate it when they use that to say like, so it was okay what she did.
Well, there's a couple things there too. I don't want to conflate drug use, alcohol use with abuse, with physical violence, because those two things are not. And that was one big thing from like, look, if people want to drink and use drugs, I mean, that's just the thing that they do. And you want to divorce that person, great. That person's not for you. But physical violence is off the table, for me. So I'd like it to kind of even out at some point and just be like, we can all agree they shouldn't be married. Can we all, everyone good on that?
I do want to say one thing that you said in the beginning, Jarret, was like, you were like, well, I think we can agree that Amber didn't handle herself well in the relationship. And I just had this very funny image of her taking a shit on the bed and you being like, you are not handling yourself very well.
No. Miss, excuse me, miss. Is this what an adult does?
Use your words. Okay.
No, don't spell it. Man, with the poop. That's not what I meant.
I don't know. If you look at my algorithm, it's all politics. Like that's it, And then to suddenly be getting this case over and over and over again, that's what makes me go like,
that's true.
What is going on here?
In the scroll for sure. Rob, I know you've been on the road for the last few days, so you're probably having a little less time to get stuck in the scroll. But I have also noticed that, Jarret, just in whenever I'm on. So I would agree with the trend.
Yeah.
Okay. Now your homework is to make 2 TikToks, one in full defense of Johnny and one in full defense of Amber.
Ooh.
and
we'll see which one shows up on your guys'. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be an extremely fun TikTok account where you constantly argue back-to-back videos on both sides.
Is so good.
And anybody who wants to know whether you're full of shit or who you are, they just go investigate and be like, wait, this guy's arguing both things.
That's awesome.
I would call it the devil's algorithm.
No, you don't call it, because that would tip the head. You want people who are just going to get involved in it and then be like, wait a minute, this is... Next time you share a different opinion that's like on the other side of the spectrum of things they would like, they're like,
that's really
the
funny.
hell is this? I think that's great.
What if you did 2 accounts that were just completely opposite end and you were, you know what I mean? So now it's 2 different accounts, so people could be like, what the fuck? I thought this guy was the bleeding heart liberal, not at, conservative junkie. What the fuck is
I think the fear then, though, is that one of those accounts starts doing well and the other one doesn't, and then you just become that person, which has happened to many comics.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's how we got Larry the Cable Guy. You know, that's exactly
Mayer.
what happens. Anyways, so that's my catch up. What's over with you guys? Rob is back on the road with Leedy.
Yeah, I'm in the room right now. She's down over at the concierge lounge. Here at the
That is the hero's move, to be the one and not in the room. So salute to Leedy.
Yeah, salute to you, Leedy.
Yeah, we had a 10-hour drive yesterday, which is the longest I've driven on tour, and we're going to surpass it in a couple of weeks.
That's the longest you've ridden on tour.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, Bowers is now driving for the whole tour for us. He's our permanent driver.
Oh,
so
whoa.
he did 9 hours yesterday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And this is an exchange for a new setup that we've done.
That's the best edgy take he's ever taken. That he's almost becoming George Costanza to me, where he's just taking these really weird takes. He's like, no, you gotta see, driving the whole time is good. That's where everybody gets it wrong.
Oh, the essence of that was perfect. That's exactly his essence.
Brilliant.
Most people don't realize. See, my philosophy on this, my theory on this is... Yeah.
That Bowers on Secret Service, diving in front of a bullet, everybody gets this wrong. This is where they go wrong. They didn't think they want to be the president.
I'm
you
saving
want to
the
die
president.
in front of a bullet. Then you're the hero.
Listen, I am saving the president by not jumping in front of the bullet. Listen to me, okay? Listen.
Skill Mold made a comment in reference to this TikTok account where you argue both sides and said, call it sorry, not sorry, yes, sorry.
That's great.
That was excellent. I didn't get to tell you guys last time, but Leedy and I got to go see Book of Mormon, and it was fantastic.
Great show.
First time seeing it.
Awesome.
So good. Interesting edit that they did, because from listening to the original soundtrack, was they made it so they introduce a guy. They're like, this guy tried to rape a baby. How is it not so bad here in Uganda? And in the version that we saw, they said his brother tried to rape a baby. And it was interesting because later on, there's this very absurdist moment where they're doing a rendition of their version of the Book of Mormon, these Ugandans who have been taught through just, pathological lies what the Book of Mormon is, for the president of the church. And that character comes out and he's wearing the solution to him raping babies is that he's going to rape a frog instead. And he has this frog wrapped around his junk. And it made so much. I understand why they changed it. I understand why they changed rape to have sex with, and I understand why they would want to change it to his brother. But it took away from that moment a little bit more, because when it's this character, he tried to rape a baby, and now he's come over and he's seen the light of this wrong Mormon church, and he's doing a dance, and he has a frog around his junk, and he's giving it to other people, look, I can solve your problems. It's so much funnier if he was the one who thinks that this is the solution. Anyways, I just thought that was an interesting. I tried to guess what went into it. Maybe the show's been in production for long enough that maybe the actor was like, I would really like it if it wasn't me raping the baby. Even that, they're like, we're already changing it because rape is too much of a word. So if we're making that change, can we make it so it was my brother? And they're like, yeah, why not?
Well, it also makes it hard for, at the end of the show, when he's out there singing and dancing, the audience not being like, we don't want to enjoy that guy. He shouldn't be having fun right now. He should be in jail. We hate that.
And I actually think that it would be funnier if you're having that emotion.
Yeah,
if you're like, I don't want to enjoy this guy, but he is making a fool of himself, and he's got a frog around. It's like that. I think that absurdism. Wow. It was just interesting to see where the. I think ethically it is a good choice, but I think it does take away from the intended comedy of when it was written. I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
What a perfect example of that. Where it's the concept is the same, and the concept is, if you were to think about the intention behind the joke, it passes the smell test in a way. It's just the words, and that's so fascinating to me. I don't, and with that in mind, I mean, other than just night after night after night after night of people fucking hating it, and you just have to change it just for the sake of the audience never likes it, you would adapt to just be like, well, all right, let's change it.
Well, here's the thing. I think if they hadn't changed it to make it more agreeable, that the audience, and I don't know, I only
Yeah.
saw it once now, many
Yeah.
years after it debuted. I think that it would have been funnier if they had not made it more agreeable.
Of course. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying 100%.
I
I saw
see.
it 3 times. Every time they raped a baby, fucking perfect. Mwah,
Never the
you
brother
know?
when you saw it.
Yeah, always
Oh,
the
okay.
person raping
Never
that
rape
baby.
the brother, always rape the baby. Sorry.
Always rape the baby.
That's what it sounded.
Yeah.
I just keep on imagining people cutting in right when Rob said that. I saw it 3 times. Always rape the baby.
Always. Always rape the baby. It was great every time. You know, people were asking for more.
There's just another theory though.
People
Also,
throwing
if
their
you saw
babies on
Matinee-
stage. Rape my baby. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
Brett.
We saw Matinee, so I was like, oh, maybe they changed it for an afternoon, or they know some children's school is coming on a trip, or so. I don't know. I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be appropriate for children anyways. That show,
Right.
but still, I was like, maybe his family's in the audience. I don't know the actor.
My quick artistic knee-jerk reaction is, of course, that I disagree with that, and I think that's a silly change to make. This was the show, this was the joke. The joke intention is solid, so the words should not matter in that way, and that's what you're signing up for. That's my my quick personal take. And just to be clear to all the listeners out there, there is nobody having sex with a baby that is not rape. So, just in case you were worried and you wanted to make sure that we softened it up a
Oh
little
no,
bit.
he only
when-
made love to the baby. Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
So if I wasn't, totally in the pocket of don't change the art before, I certainly am now to say, I hope you don't think sex with a baby isn't rape, because it is, regardless of what you call
Did he
it.
put on some nice music at least and light some candles? Well, then it was sex.
Well, I don't. I mean, I know you're being, but just to clarify, they're changing it because the word rape
Of course.
is elicits too strong of an emotion that it may take away from the comedy.
It almost feels
and
like
having sex. See, I think that it doesn't change the comedy at all. I think if
Sure.
you're saying have sex with a baby, then it has no effect. It has the same thing. We automatically know that is rape without saying the word rape. Rape almost brings up a violent imagery, and
Yeah.
then. But I think making it his brother does affect the comedy at the end of the payoff.
You know what's so weird? That line I remember vividly. There's something about rape a baby, rape the A sounds, the P sound. There's something good
And it's
to
coming
it,
right
too.
off the heels of like, well, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think he's like trying to argue like God will provide. You know,
Right. I'm gonna defend the wording just because I think it's funnier wording on top of it. It's the shock value more than anything else. You're just like, what the fuck?
Well,
You know, this
sometimes-
is
I mean,
terrible.
the show's been running through the full-on height of the Me Too movement.
You're right. You're right. No,
It's
no,
been
that's
since
very true.
before the Me Too movement. It hit the full arc.
Yeah. And sometimes that, the word rape can be like a comedy, break,
Yeah.
basically, where it's like, even if, it has that aesthetic quality of, it's got the great comedy rhythm to it, when people hear it, they're just like, I'm not laughing
I'm not-
right
yeah.
now. I just heard something, like that.
Right.
I was in the show Fantastics when I was in high school, and in that show, these two fathers are trying to figure out how to get their kids together, and they decide that they're going to stage an abduction of the daughter for the son to rescue her from. But the original song about that was, we're going to do a rape.
Oh,
We're going to
right.
stage a rape.
The Fantastics, right?
And yeah, exactly. We're going to stage a rape, but then they changed it from rape to abductions. And it makes me really curious because the song Abductions is friggin' dope as hell, first of all. And it works because the word abductions is such a good rhythm to it. It's like abductions, theatrical abductions.
Versus rape.
With
Rape.
No, it used to be great. He sung it it was actually a bop. He would go, do re, and it had a whole
Whoa.
it was kind of a bop actually.
All right. Well, now we got another thing we got to decide. Which
We
song
gotta
was better?
compare these two, honestly.
All right. Tune in. Comment.
Coming in hot on abductions. I haven't heard. I haven't heard rape, but abductions is bop. So
You gotta give it a listen.
What did they change in the new West Side Story? There was something that they changed. Implied rape scene. Did they make it more rapey or less rapey? I forget what they
More
did.
rapey. They
More rapey.
instead of the implied version in the original, where they're all harassing Anita, and then suddenly Doc comes in. He's like, "What is wrong with you people?" Doc in the original never says, "You guys were about to rape someone." Instead, he just says, "You guys are hooligans.
Right.
Get out." And in this new one, Doc, who is now a woman in this iteration, comes in and she point blank says it, shames them. She's like, I grew up with you. I watched you guys grow up. I just watched you guys almost rape someone. Get out, basically.
Yeah, and I loved that change. I remember being like, that was such a good change.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's just the stuff handed. You fools.
you
You rapscallions.
Put out that malarkey. Hey, stop boys being boysing. Anything else for the catch-up, y'all?
Quit horsing around. Sorry, that's all. If you have a guess for the order, put it in now in the chat.
Can I share something?
Of course.
Hell yes.
Absolutely.
We got to give people time to guess.
It's not the one that Rob heard, though. It's not exactly a joke. It's just a story.
I love it. So now you got to guess a forder. So put it in the chat.
The letters are J, R, B, and L. So you figure out what order those are going to go in.
Wait, I think you guys misunderstood. Oh, Leedy wants to turn.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something now.
It was so funny to watch you realize that you were misunderstanding as you say the word misunderstood. I think you guys misunderstood. Oh!
It's almost, it reminds me of like a Tim Robinson sketch where he's like holding a bloody knife and he's like, there's a murder in it. Ah! Sorry, no winners this week then.
Sorry, nobody wins the prize we haven't decided on.
Yeah.
Our order this week is Rob, Brett, Leedy, Jarret. Rob, Brett, Leedy, Jarret. Rob, Brett, Leedy, Jarret.
Nice.
That is the order. Rob, Brett, Leedy, Jarret.
I love it. Thank you. All right, I'm going to start off with this one. Surprise parties are a weird premise. Surprise! You thought we didn't care about you enough to have a party, but we do. So we lied to you this past month. And your emotions like, thank you, I'm so confused.
Happy birthday. We got you an emotional roller coaster.
That's great. Because, yeah, so much of the surprise party premise is a lot of lying and convincing the person there's no party on their birthday or near their birthday, that no one cares. And you're just like, what is going? And you're just calling people like, you want to hang out? They're like, can't. I'd love to make it out, but I'm not gonna be there. And you're just like, oh, sure, okay. So if you can get to the birthday before they commit suicide, then I guess it's a nice. I guess it's a nice surprise.
Excellent.
The way that people come up with a surprise party is you're sitting there and you're thinking, you know who's been taking my love for granted? Rob. I need to keep him in check.
It's almost like the ideal person to get a surprise party is somebody who wouldn't reach out to his friends to hang out on his birthday. So the last person who wants a party is the only person that it would actually work on.
Yes, that's very true. It can be the person who would organize their own party. It can't. It's a very unique, specific candidate for that to work.
One caveat I would put is once you do that, once you establish like, oh, you thought we didn't love you, we do. You then have to maintain that level of love for the rest of their lives, because anytime you hold back on that, they're going to be like, I've got a surprise party coming.
Man, she hasn't talked to me in 2 years. It's some nice party coming. She's not answering my calls. Keeps dodging me every time I try to invite him over.
Maybe like every time you get into a fight, you're like, wait a minute, are you planning a surprise party?
What if someone tries to do like a friend breakup? Like, I am realizing that we have a toxic relationship where we enable our drug addictions, and I don't think that it's healthy for us to hang out anymore. And the other person's like, okay. If you say so.
Especially on May 27th, right? That's when we shouldn't hang out the most, huh?
That is great. When I was a kid, I pulled off, this was ambitious of me. I pulled off a ridiculous surprise birthday party for my brother Steve. I forget, he may have been like 14, 15 years old. No cell phones, no internet. I am 11, 10 years old, maybe 12 tops. and I am surreptitiously asking him who his friends are. Because I know some. I was like, who's that girl you're talking about always? He's like, oh, yeah, Stacy. Yeah, she's cool. I'm like, what was Evan's last name? He's like, Evan Mizaki? I'm like, yes, Mizaki is at M-U-Z. And I collected all these kids. I got like 10, 12 names. I went into the phone book and I called everybody with that last name. And I was like, hey, is Evan here? And they're like, no, sorry, wrong number. So I like wrong numbered all these people until I found the 14-year-olds who were available. And I was like, hey, you're Evan Mizaki. Yeah. You know my brother Steve. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to the Chinese buffet for his birthday, but it's a surprise. Wow. And I was able to make this thing happen. It was, I mean, unfathomable.
So magical for your friend.
For my friend?
Yeah, I mean the fact that you were able to pull that off.
Oh, it was my
Because
brother.
like,
My brother.
Oh, your brother. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean the fact that you were able to pull. He was probably like, how did you even? Was he like blown away?
Yeah, there was. I mean, like I had to like explain. Everybody had their own story of like I got a call from from this kid I do not know. I'm like, hi, I'm trying to organize a party for my brother.
I had to dig up a box in the park with instructions. One of them's like, I just saw off my own arm. Jigsaw.
I want to know the variety of responses that you got calling the people who it was the wrong number. You know, I'm sure there's people like, no, there's no Evan here. Evan? He died 10 years ago.
You know, back in the day, I guess people were just they were just more used to wrong numbers. You know, there was even that play, sorry, wrong number, and people, it was pretty common.
There was a guy who was going through the phone book trying to support his roofing business when I was growing up, and he had a very heavy accent, didn't speak English all that good, and I'm home by myself, and I pick up the phone, and he goes,
all that well.
Was it you?
It was me. It was me. Pick up the phone. I'm by myself. I forget how old I was. Probably like 12 or something. And I pick up the phone and he's like, hello, yes, I have roofing business. You need new roof? And I was like, no, I don't need a new roof. And I hung up on him. And then he called me back and he's like, is your parents there? I can talk to them about the roof. And I was like, no one, my parents aren't here. I hang up the phone. He calls me back again. He's like, listen to me, you little shit. Because he was looking at the phone book, so he had all the information. And so he goes, I know where you live. And then he read what? To me back. And I was like, ah! So I hung up and I ran around the house locking all the doors and everything.
That is so.
Then you hear a knock, and he's like, surprise! And all your friends are there. And
your parents aren't home. Okay, so no one will be upset if I bring a gag over. Huh?
Was your like parents like stuck for money with the mob? It's like, yeah, this is a roofing company. Talk to your dad. Listen, you little shit. I need to talk to your fucking dad right now.
Yeah, I think this is a solid premise. I think the beginning needs a little bit of a tweak because as you were building up to it, I was like, yeah, like I agree with this. You know, I need to get to the ridiculous part a little sooner.
Sure, that makes some sense. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think there was something else on the. Oh yes, it was the YouTube. YouTube is cool because it offers your ability to like watch at 1.5x or 2x speed, which is like really convenient if it's like a long video or a 10-minute ab workout. Like, wow, 5-minute ab workout. This is great. I'm gonna be in shape in no time. Yeah, it's just that tickled me. That's all.
Yeah, that feels like a bridge line, like from one bit to another. You know, I'm not sure if there's anything to flesh out there.
Is there somebody who universally we all know talks very slowly?
Someone actually just made that joke. Someone actually just made that joke on one of the podcasts I've listened to about a speech that Joe Biden just gave. He's like, oh, by the way, if you want to listen to the speech, it's not insulting to listen to it at 1.5 speed, you know, like I think you'll get the content still. It's not like how slow he talks these days.
Dude, I listen to so much stuff at 2x speed now. You know, if I gotta like bone up on some chemistry thing or biology thing real quick, I'm just watching a video 2x. It's like people are not speaking fast enough for me now. I'm like, can we? I
noticed when I was talking to you the other day, Rob, you went like this. You kept poking like there was something to click.
2x.
He's talking to Rob, and he's just like, yeah. Yeah.
There was a guy who I lived with in college, and he just, as soon as you started talking, I got you. And it annoyed everybody so much that we all started doing that. Oh, got you. That's
fine.
There was a girl I dated.
I've only gotten 2 words in. There's no way you got me.
There was a girl I dated who would say "uh-huh" a lot, like when you were talking, but it was weirdly intrusive. Just, like that. It really stood out, but it also wasn't like it was like that close to being annoying.
Yeah.
You know, where I was like, it was annoying enough where it made me think like, do I do this? I shouldn't do this. If this is what I sound like, then I shouldn't do this.
Someone probably told her to be like an active listener, and she just took it to heart so much that she was being like an aggressive listener. She was
Right.
like,
Jarret,
You do that.
Uh-huh.
I like that little tick of yours. But you don't like cut people off. You just hear, you go, You do that a lot.
Does it rain?
You also do that.
Does it
You do that too?
I am
by the
done
way-
with you, ding dongs.
By the way,
You do that too. You do that, ding dongs.
everything you do, you do. I don't know if you know that.
When I am making my reaction noises, does it trigger the same part of the brain? Like, ooh, that's almost annoying. Or is it?
No,
Okay.
not even close.
It's like
it
Jarret
is
is really engaged in listening.
Yeah, or like you're there. It's your way of letting me know I'm with you. I've been there. I've thought that. Like I'm on board. Yes, total agreement.
Awesome. Then the ruse is working.
And so you. All right, buddy. That's when you know you're in trouble.
Listen to me, you son of a bitch.
Unfortunately, that girl kept on just uh-huh-ing you so fast, you could never tell her she's got a perfect vagina.
You have
It's like, just let me talk. No, it's just, I like how.
You know, I've been dating
And
a
the way
lot.
you All right. After the stream, describe this perfect vagina. I want to hear about it. But for now, let's move on.
God.
That's it for Rob Ryan, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right, next up we got Brett Druck.
As you guys know, but the viewers do not, I asked you, because I have an interactive joke, I haven't done one of these in a little while, I asked you all to come up with an example of a very catty hearsay and a name of somebody for this premise. So I'm going to put a transcript in the chat, and you guys will be able to participate as soon as I get this premise out here. And here we go. We've all heard of the Declaration of Independence. Pretty interesting stuff. But you know what I find really interesting is the Defamation of Independence. You know, it has those parts that are like...
I just really like that you're like, all right, for this bit, I need you to write like an example of like really catty hearsay, and it starts with the Declaration of Independence.
But what I find really interesting is the Defamation of Independence. You know, it has that one part where it says all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, except for Jeff. Everybody knows he's a mean drunk.
Oh, yeah. And then they're like, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, except Jenny, who, by the way, I heard told her plastic surgeon to match her lip surgery to her vagina lips.
And then there's that other part where they're like, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government that states that Britney's hair can't be that fucking greasy every day.
Yes. And I like it when they're like, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experiences hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Except for Aaron, who I heard farts every time he comes.
The Defamation of Independence, everybody.
Yay!
That is wonderful.
It's
All
a
right,
little
that-
long, but it's great.
It's so funny.
That's what the
Smoother
founders
than I
said when
thought
they
it would
first
go.
read Thomas Jefferson's first draft. They're like, it's wordy. It's wordy, but it's pretty good.
Thanks for playing along with that one. That was just a silly one. But I do have I have some other ones here. So let's
Do you have any plan or any to try to pull this off on stage, if even just the first time? Okay.
No, I just thought it'd be a fun thing for us to do.
That's great.
It's all yours.
Very
Rob.
fun.
This one was inspired by Leedy. When do you think the most appropriate time to do the hardly even know her joke? You know, like somebody's like, poker, I hardly even know her. I think it's Hitler.
Snaps. That's great.
Snaps.
I love it. That's excellent.
There's got to be a little bit more of a definitive way to set that up. Like it almost, I don't know how universal that is. I know we know about it, but I can imagine somebody being like,
poker. People know about Hitler. People don't know the joke, the poker joke.
Actually, Jarret may not, based on the last episode that we had, where he was like, if there was some like really
do you think it's
evil
a
Nazi,
worse Nazi? Do you think it's a worse Nazi?
I want to.
You ding
Most
dongs.
people do though. Jarret, did you? Were you saying the poker joke?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's very easy to fix because I could just say, there's a joke that a lot of dads make. So if you say poker, they'll say, "Oh, poker, I hardly even know her." If you say, riveter, they'll be like, "Riveter, I hardly even know her." I'm trying to think what the worst example of that would be. When it would go from dad joke to inappropriate. I think it's probably Hitler.
I would certainly test it out and see the audience's knowledge of that, because I'm not 100% sure people's knowledge of it. I think it's more widespread than maybe Jarrett's giving credit for, but I don't 100% know.
Leedy, had you heard that joke before?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh, I've been wrong many
Sound off
times
the chat.
in my
Have
life.
you heard the poker hardly even know her joke? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. But I love that. That's excellent, and I don't know how else to put a nice little bow on top of that, because it's great.
Yeah, I only know that the most like erudite version that I know about that is Faulkner.
Faulkner, that's funny. Faulkner, I really know her.
It's hard to tell when somebody on the subway is crazy or just like really into their music. Like you can't tell if they have headphones in or not. Like sometimes you hear, "I'ma get you, I'ma get you, I'ma get you," and you're like, I hope this is a song I don't know.
You really hope that the lyrics aren't Brett at the end.
That the hook isn't Brett, or that I hope the chorus isn't Brett.
I hope the chorus isn't the guy I'm looking at right now on the subway.
I'm like Shazamming it as frantically as I possibly can. Is this anything?
This premise, I think it's a little overdone. Somebody crazy, or do they have headphones in? But the thing that I don't know how to get to that makes me laugh is the idea that somebody is doing something absolutely crazy, like stabbing me, and I'm like, it's probably just a good song.
Oh yeah, I do like that turn. But sometimes, anytime anyone has headphones in them, I give them way too much leeway.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm like, this is still. It's a bop.
This must be a TikTok dance.
This song both slaps and stabs.
Or you could just keep slaps. Like, this song slaps, and so is this guy. He is
This is slapping me across the face. I love that. That fix perfectly gets to where I want to go.
Did you ever hear? Do you remember Brian Scott McFadden's joke about the crazy guy in the subway that's just like basically arguing with himself? He's like, you see a lot of crazy people in the subway, wherever the setup is, and he's like, I see this one guy, and he's just literally having this big debate with himself, basically. He's like, I want some cantaloupe. He's like, no, you can't have any cantaloupe. It's my cantaloupe, and you can't have any cantaloupe. I paid for the cantaloupe. I got the cantaloupe. It's my cantaloupe, and you can't have the cantaloupe. He's like, after 10 minutes, I was like, give the guy some cantaloupe.
I saw a crazy woman on the subway once talking about how she wouldn't give her cherry to anybody, and that included Obama. So, like, in her rant, she was like, and then Obama called me, and he trying to get that cherry. I was like, I ain't giving you no cherry. You
Oh
Obama.
my gosh. I once
Clint Eastwood had the same rant.
The first time I ever went to New York, there was this guy who was really chipper on the subway, and he was saying that everything was super. He was like, this is a super subway. I'm going down to Super Manhattan. Everything's super. And he was very harmless and kind of fun to watch because he was so happy. But someone was sick of it, so they shushed him. And then he goes, super being shushed.
Excellent. Excellent. Anything else for Brett Drake, everybody? Anything else?
I am good on Brett. Brett's great. Brett's funny.
Wait, was that the point of the show? We figure out if the person's funny or not? 'Cause you guys keep having me come back week after week.
Rob and I are still waiting for our turn. Brett, you did it. You won.
I won ITA.
We'll figure out your prize soon.
That's right after we figure out who guessed the order
We're
correctly.
giving it X-Men. Give it up for Brett Drake, everybody. Woo!
All right. Well,
All
next
right.
up, it looks like we've got Leedy Corbin, right?
That's right. But before we get to
before
Leedy,
then,
just want to tell everybody how great the Patreon is. Patreon.com/ITAPod. A lot of great.
what's better,
exclusive-
Jarret? The Patreon or that girl's vagina?
Ooh, it's a real toss-up. But I'm gonna go Patreon. You know.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Patreon episodes so good that you're gonna have an opinion about them that you cannot wait to share. Patreon.com/ITAPod. Exclusive tiers, awesome benefits. Patreon.com/ITAPod. And next up, we got Leedy Corbin.
All right. Here is mine. I used to go to church every Sunday, but I don't anymore. Sometimes I do miss it, though, because of just how, naive and wonderful my pastor was. One day she came in and she was telling us about this person that she saw on the side of the road. And she goes, this person just touched my soul because he had his arms up and he was praising Christ. No, Pam, that man was very high. That's it. It's just a story.
It's great.
I like that. That's great.
That's great. You can shorten it to just, I don't go to church anymore, but I miss it because I used to have a naive pastor. And then you can get straight into that story.
Quick and easy.
But it is very, very funny.
Yeah.
And there was a man next to him just injecting the Lord in his veins.
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted to add that any example of anybody doing anything physical that she can misinterpret is just so ripe for comedy.
I saw someone else
into his face. Yeah, it was great.
A skinny guy, he looked he was malnourished. His teeth were bad, and yet he was still digging holes to find by the body of Christ.
A man was making a donation, and in exchange, the other man was showing him his nice new gun.
I watched Breaking Bad, and that man is just full of the Lord's Spirit. He's just working for his family.
Spreading the Lord.
Yeah.
Prostitution you could slip in there too.
Oh, she did actually. She did a whole
great.
sermon about prostitution. She called it being a vessel for the Lord.
Wow.
No.
That's very progressive of her.
I'd love to hear her dirty talk. Ooh, put the Lord on the small of my back.
Kill me.
Oh my god. The Holy Spirit, yeah. Oh boy.
Oh, speaking of, do you guys? I don't know. This made the rounds on social media in between the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. There was this commercial for a testosterone supplement that had all these fake testimonials, interviews with people who were clearly actors, and every single actor was talking about the benefits of the testosterone and always finished with how much bigger their loads were. And they were,
God, what?
It was so weird because every single one was I have more energy, I'm able to work out longer, and my loads have been ridiculous. And then the next guy was just and the wife isn't complaining about my loads anymore.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'll see if I can find it and send it to you guys.
You know, this has never happened to me, but I would imagine if I ever had slept with a woman and she had said, and I'd come and then she'd gone, that's it, then that would be a thing I'm now insecure about.
Oh,
I gotta have bigger
yeah,
loads.
you're right. That would be a bad one. Well, even just third hand, I've heard, I can't even remember, just a few times. There's some comic that I know.
Wait,
who
you're
has
saying
a joke about-
you have heard that third hand?
Yeah, that a few.
Oh, I've never even. See, that's what's funny to me. I've never even heard this as a concept that a woman is not enough cum.
This was the joke. This was the. I mean, it makes total sense to me, and it also makes sense that you wouldn't hear about it because I don't think girls would be as comfortable talking about it so much. But it stands to reason that there'd be girls out there who are just like, that's a lot of cum and that's fucking hot, and other times not. But anyway, who cares? And I'm talking outside just the porn world. You certainly hear it in porn, but or at least like you hear like, wow, that's a lot. Good for you. Maybe not the good
Great for you.
Maybe not the good for you.
Oh, hey! Look at how much cum you've got.
Good job, buddy. I give you a pat on the back, but
you get a gold sticker. It wasn't a sticker before, but it's a sticker now.
I watch a lot of mother-son porn, so whatever. It's very... Oh, nice job. So, but it was, maybe I'm not remembering the comic. I don't want to say a wrong name, but this was the premise. It was the guy who is bragging that there's gonna be a lot of cum, and then there isn't a lot of cum, and I don't know. Anyway, I've heard it one time, so it was enough for me to be like, oh, like do more people think like that? So it wasn't like a life-changing thing, but I mean,
all right. Well,
I think I come enough that, I haven't heard the opposite. I haven't heard complaints about a lack of cum. Mm-hmm. It makes total sense to me.
Have you had a complaint that there's too much cum, where they're just like, stop!
She drowned.
Oh, no, another. But cum is linked to your semen, and semen is seed, and that there's something about virility there. So
yeah, I get it.
I can imagine. We should put a poll out there and be like, women, do you like cum? More cum? Less cum? Do you care? Do you like it when it's watery, viscous? Sound off in the chat.
I'll tell you this. I can probably answer this. Sorry, Brett.
You can answer. But in my experience, women have all kinds of different opinions on it, and I've heard some women who are grossed out, and I've heard some women who love it, but I've never heard volume being really a part of the equation.
I would imagine that if a little dribble, like a baby dribble, came out, it's gotta be a turnoff. It's gotta just be like, oh, okay, just like like.
If you're doing it right, no one is thinking about it that hard.
I don't know about this no one stuff. There's a lot of weird people out there. Some girls like to get cummed on, and some girls they get cummed on their face. So it's like it's part of the show for some people. So so I guess
I wish I hadn't brought this up. Honestly,
I agree.
Oh man! All right. Well, I guess that's why.
I want to discuss it more. Because I think that it's the same way that I think the most people are going to be satisfied giving their partner an orgasm, regardless of any kind of material that comes with that. If they're like, I'm positive you orgasmed and it felt good for you, that's all that's really going to matter.
What if a guy doesn't have a large load and he explains it by saying, I'm not a squirter? Or conversely, if a guy has a small load and he comes on a girl's back, does he ever also spit into it to make it seem like it's bigger, and then rub it together?
Yeah, you just gotta wipe it on her.
Sorry about that.
But you couldn't spit because that makes a sound, so you just have to kind of drool.
Gross.
Be like, don't look back.
Didn't think this would get grosser. Well, that's it for Leedy, everybody. Leedy Corbin.
Excellent story. I love that. That was very funny.
Yeah,
delightful. All right, now bat and cleanup. We got Jarret Bernstein.
Jarret, if you think we're not going to talk about cum during your section, you're gravely mistaken.
Well, I actually just thought of this while you guys were doing that just gross conversation. I find bodies to be gross, in general, and so anything where we're talking about spit, we're talking about cum, all of that stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah,
which is why.
Too.
Boogers, all that stuff. I get very grossed out very easily. I just thought of this while this conversation was going on. What do you guys think about this? Because kind of like a one-liner. My parents didn't get divorced, which was rough for me because every time I got stuck in the dryer, I didn't have a stepbrother to come fuck me.
That's good.
I like that? Doesn't feel like there's any more meat on that bone.
Yeah, you're hitting a niche market. I know that trope in porn is pretty popular, but I still feel like not everybody has seen that.
That's true.
Okay. All right.
Try it out. We'll see how many people get stuck.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
All right, here's a different one.
Step porn. That's seemingly universal. Just too much step porn out there.
Yeah.
All right. So this is something I thought of for the end of my bit about how many things are wrong with my body, and it's based in reality. Sometimes people hear that list of ailments and they come up to me after the show and they're like, "Are you Jewish?" And even though it's mostly Jews that do that, it feels anti-Semitic. Because there's also my last name, Berenstein, and my Jewish ass face, but they hear that my body's falling apart and they're like, that's some Jew shit right there. What do you guys think? Acceptable tag? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, you're saying this is on the tail end of all the other stuff that you were talking about with that. Yeah.
I think it's very funny. The way that they're saying it's coming from Jewish people, you're saying, right?
Yeah, almost
So
exclusively.
It almost sounds like it's like part of the religion, you know? Like they're like, before we eat bread on the Sabbath, we have to say the prayer for bread. And also
And we call our gastroenterologists.
yes, yeah.
Well,
some like, you know, this is part of the ritual, and then also something ridiculous like call you gastro.
There's like during the holidays, you know, you're walking around the city. There's a lot of Jewish people out there, and they ask, "Hey, are you Jewish?" And if you say yes, then they, you know, hey, they say hi, a little blessing, and they give you a menorah so you can celebrate if you're not. But I like the idea of like, "Are you Jewish?" Yeah, they just kind of hand you Pepto-Bismol and an antihistamine. They're like, "Thanks, I appreciate it." You got a menorah in there?
That is super funny. If there ever was another, like, you know, discrimination against Jewish people, and the way that they figured out who it was whoever buys Pepto-Bismol or Tums or anything like that. Yeah, there might be a little room to flesh that out.
If there was some kind of like xenophobia against Jews in some movement, they wouldn't have to, you know, go door to door asking who's Jewish. They would just have to go to CVS and ask who's bought all the antacids.
Well, maybe that's why there hasn't been another Holocaust, is because everybody's heard and they're just like, their bodies are doing it for us. So all we need to do is just sit back and wait.
Oh wow.
Why? I mean, why were they spending all that money on these concentration camps? We could just give them a yogurt.
Jarret, I got another idea, but it requires, is there another joke that you do that prompts follow-up questions ever? And if you can't think of one, could you make up an example where you tell a joke and, you know, whatever it might be. Oh, did your mom really this? Or like, you know, did you ever play sports in college? You know, so whatever the follow-up question might be. And then maybe you could structure it where, and then I talk about all my ailments, and the follow-up question for most people, or whatever, is, I get, are you Jewish? Like, what the fuck, man? I don't know if that's a thing that works.
So is it after all of the ailments bit, I say, you know, when people hear that other joke, they ask me this. But when people hear that joke, they just say, are you Jewish? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's the broad structure of it.
So
I was thinking.
When I talk about how often I do drugs, people always ask me,
Do you want some edibles? Do you want? Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Yes, that's a classic post-show question to a comic. You talk about drugs.
I like that. That beefs that up a little bit. All right. Anything else for this bit? I may keep this light, just like my cum.
Aha! I knew you were a light dribbler. No! That's why you were so offended. You're like, this is ridiculous, guys. This is so gross.
Can we stop talking about?
Why are we talking about this?
We all have normal loads, okay? Everyone, it's fine. It's fine. Kirsten's crying in the corner. Shut up!
Shut up! You're gonna think of dribbling, and you're gonna like it.
Oh my god.
We couldn't watch that Michael Jordan documentary because every time they talked about dribbling, I was like, shut up!
Oh, looks like heavy thunderstorms this weekend. Shut up with your heavy rains and just knock it off.
Well, that's it for me then. Thank you so much for the notes, everybody.
Oh, you got it. Great joke and great episode. This is fun. Thanks for sharing with us, Leedy.
Oh, Rob. Rob, I don't know what you're doing, but it's funny because both you and Leedy are actively doing a thing, you know? Mm-hmm. So it looks like you're both doing a drawing segment.
And now we got some Leedy Corbin.
All right.
Well, so I just want to point out that we have somebody named Pablo Monkey Joe who is chatting pictures of a monkey over and over again in our chat.
Great.
Oh, so it's a spammer. Okay. I thought it was like some content that was related to us.
No, it seems like someone just wants attention.
Oh, you know what? The D&D game that I play every Monday is streamed, and somebody started spamming the stream, and someone was like, "Yeah, I think they think we have a lot of simps watching this channel who want our porn, who want like to sell them porn, you know?" And I was just like, "Simps watching a D&D stream? How dare they insinuate nothing but alpha bros in our Twitch stream?"
Are we ready?
Yeah,
Ready
it's
for
time for
it.
Leedy Corbin.
All right, first up, I have one of the quickest drawings I've ever tried to make. It's the Pepto-Bismol menorah.
Excellent. Well worth the wait.
It was so hard to make quickly because I had to Google what Pepto-Bismol looked like and menorahs. So that was tough. All right, on some
Wait,
drawings.
Let me explain it. It's,
sorry.
It is a pink menorah with some Pepto-Bismol in place of candles. Well done, Lee.
Thank you. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. First up, I have the graph of trying to figure out how Jarret got there.
That's great.
We have a whiteboard with Jarret and a red marker, and it has all kinds of arrows pointing to the center idea. I never got to tell her how great her vagina was, and it's got all kinds of women, abortion, catch-up, we can't hear Leedy, vagina's good, and then that's how we get there. And Rob and I are watching along. And then Jarret's saying, no, that's not how I got there.
Then I have Jarret, what are you listening to?
We got Jarret bopping along to a song called Rape.
Then I've got, all right, 10-minute ab workout. Here we go. Set to 5 times speed.
Excellent.
Lovely.
We have an extremely quick Rob speeding up his ab workout and then just kind of flashing into an ab workout.
And I believe, oh no, not last but not least, I have Load Me Up with the Holy Spirit.
We have Dirty Talking, Naive Pastor.
That is what Pam looked like, by the way.
Ooh, the Pam haircut.
Yes.
I love that.
And now, last but not least, I have I'm not handling this well.
We got Amber not handling herself well in the relationship, thinking I'm not handling this well, and taking a shit on the bed at the same time.
She's
While
dressed
making
nice,
her little
though.
scrunchy face.
Great
Excellent.
little top. I've got because Leedy pitched the joke. I decided to draw her joke. So if you
That's what he was up to.
So he really was doing a drawing.
I was drawing. What do I do? Do I make myself big? How do I do that?
Yeah, do that.
I don't know. Stop video.
I think just share screen, right?
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, share my screen.
Well, what are you sharing?
If you made it on paper, then no, don't share your
Oh
screen.
no. I want to
Highlight
host.
yourself.
I want to like highlight
Highlight
myself.
yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is. Hey, there we go. Okay, so this is Leedy's joke.
Gosh. Oh my god.
We got a guy jerking off and the pastor, with his pants down, and the pastor saying, "Praise the Lord."
That's so good. Oh, that's amazing.
All right,
Excellent.
great job, Leedy.
job, Rob.
Ryan.
Isn't that kind of exhausting, Rob?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I tried to do Leedy's job once for AUE. I was lead direct Corbett, and I was like, everybody was like, "Wow, that was pretty good," and I was like, "That was exhausting. I'm never doing that again."
You guys remember how I have nervous breakdowns whenever I have to draw anything? Can you imagine?
Oh, right.
3 seconds in, I'm like crying and sweating. It's like,
That's great.
in a fetal position. All right.
Then your job isn't even over at just drawing. You got to go make sure you connect to the projector and hope that works.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
I feel much more confident doing that than actually doing the drawings themselves. Leedy Corbin, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the socials under just my name, Leedy Corbin. Please join my Patreon. I would really appreciate that. You can find me on tour. I'm going to be on tour all across California and then in Canada. And then maybe you can see me at the Edinburgh Fringe, but I'm just going to be like busking on the street in August.
Wow, that's so cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys, for a great episode. This rocked. Thank you for all for joining us in the chat.
Chat.
Talk.
Talk. Chat.
Chat.
Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved. Like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you got to join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITAPod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.